Welcome to our Shield of the Sun video entitled Gang Stalking. We'll be talking about the subject of what is gang stalking and how this is a real and horrible thing that happens to many people. But a lot of people are confused as to what is gang stalking and what is the avenues of it and how are people victimized by it and what is this attack and this occurrence and who does it affect and why. Well, first, let me tell you that I was a victim of gang stalking. My experiences happened to me in Chicago, and they started for me very much at the time when I decided to leave a woman basically that I was married to about 13 years ago, which I'm no longer married to her now, and she was part of a witchcraft coven, and I had at that point decided to give my life to Jesus Christ. And when I decided to give my life to Jesus Christ, that is when this attack happened to me. It also happened to me about several months before 9/11 and greatly intensified after 9/11 when I was one of those rare people who knew that 9/11 did not happen as the media said it did. And I was basically on a path to learn the truth, into which throughout my entire time they were used to really destroy a lot of things in my life. And I wasn't the only one, but there was others. In fact, the victims of gang stalking is about 3.2 million people in the United States every year are gang stalked in one form or another, rather it be intense or rather it be semi-intense or mild. And now the government has institutionalized so many policies in violation of our privacy that pretty much the whole country is getting gang stalked. But to kind of understand this type of gang stalking we're talking about, it was more personally done on particularly those who were had a life change or a life-changing decision in their lives that very much involved them becoming people who are seeking truth, who are seeking the knowledge of that Jesus Christ provides in the Holy Spirit. And so let's talk a little bit more about the subject of gang stalking. The object of gang stalking upon its victims is to slanderously identify others, to nullify their efforts or relationships with family and friends by vilifying them through attacks based on slandering them to their family members, friends, and co-workers in an insane effort to destroy their lives. Gang stalking members are not heroes, nor are they patriots, nor are they godly. In fact, even people who say that they are Christians who are part of churches are in gang stalking groups. Remember this always. Before the people were being gang stalked, Jesus Christ was the first gang stalked victim, where his enemies stalked him and slandered him and caused trouble for him everywhere he went. And what did Jesus Christ call them? Not heroes or patriots like gang stalkers think they are, but in fact he called them hypocrites and children of the devil. So understand in truth who gang stalkers are. Many of them are part of satanic covens or witchcraft covens, and many of them come from church congregations. They are in fact not patriots, but anti-government, anti-Christian, and many of them come from extremist groups, and their beliefs and tactics are a form of terrorism. Their actions involve hundreds of stalkers to wage a harassment campaign against one or a couple or only a few individuals, which is a bullying and illegal action done against them. Also, they stalk these victims without ever knowing who they are, making their victims innocent before them. Their tactics done against their victims is to foreshadow them, slander them behind their backs, and lie about them, and to use smoke and mirror tactics against them by getting their victims to think that they are crazy when in fact they are not. Sadly, gang stalking groups do have government agents supporting them and paying them, and even firemen, ambulance workers, teachers, and police officers, not all of them, but some of them, by the numbers, work for gang stalking groups as well. In fact, in Chicago, there were gang stalking members who pretended to be police officers, even wearing officers' uniforms and showing a badge when they are not police officers, into which it is a crime to impersonate a police officer. In fact, the ones who got busted doing this in Chicago were protected from legal prosecution by the real police officers who were helping those groups, but not before the scandal ended up on the news that strange people riding around on bikes were impersonating a police officer. Many of the gang stalkers' beliefs are very much against national government, like the U.S. Constitution, and many of them know about so-called terrorist actions before they are even done, and are used to spy on people who can expose false flags and other spiritual truths. Many of them know and were ready for 9/11 to go down before and months before 9/11 actually went down, and they viciously harassed and spied upon people who knew the truths behind 9/11. Make no mistake, they target Christian teachers, patriots, and speakers of truth. They target real heroes, men and women, while deluding themselves into thinking they are heroes when in fact they are extremist villains working the cause of Satan. The tactics of gang stalking can cause some very trying and horrible times for its victims. Victims have come through it like myself, but not before losing family members and friends in the process and having a lot of things taken from them and destroyed. Some victims end up committing suicide or were just put in jail or were murdered or killed due to strange events set up by gang stalkers. The tactics of gang stalkers against their victim is to interfere with their lives by following them around 24 hours a day, even taking shifts to do so. They will hack into their phone or cell phone conversations. They will seek to turn their family members or their boss they work for against them. They will do this by lying about them and making up stories about them, and the reason they get away with it is because most of the people don't know about these groups and will not register in their brains about total strangers lying to them about the persons they are stalking, and will think that what the strangers are saying is true when it is not. And so family members will disown them, friends will abandon them, and bosses and co-workers will make work hell for them in an effort to try and get them to quit or fire them. The gang stalkers get away with lying about appearing as concerned citizens as they would appear, as a fireman, police officers, city workers, white-collar entrepreneurs or community watch groups or church groups, putting on a facade and illusion of legitimacy and power to get people to foolishly support their efforts and deluding them over into assisting them in the destroying of truly good-minded people. The gang stalkers get a good laugh out of doing this, and the general feeling about such evil actions of harassing their victims and fooling their family member, friends, and co-workers is that they don't care about any of them. To them, they are having fun at the expense and sorrow of others. They're having fun at breaking laws and engaging in other civil disobediences. They feel justified in only their pride, and they have fooled themselves into thinking they are serving a higher purpose, but in fact only serving themselves and covering up their own shame and guilt. Gang stalkers are cowards, and they will back away when confronted, so do not ever let them think they can intimidate you. And also, police must respond when illegal actions are occurring, so if you see them doing something illegal, do not hesitate to report it to the police. Many groups have their cars, gas, places of rent paid for by black ops government agents, the money coming from secret government sources, usually CIA satanic agents or corporation members who will put up thousands of dollars into funding their efforts. However, gang stalking victims are not stalked forever due to the fact that over a course of time, rather some months or a few years or so, the funding goes dry and the attention starts to turn on them, and so they will leave the target eventually, but damage has already been done. But also many gang stalkers are often betrayed by people who handle them, and they themselves may end up set up for murders, jailed, for crimes, raped, abused, and blackmailed and ruined, into which these will happen to gang stalkers eventually in time as they're set up by their handlers after they have done their dirty business for them. This is how these groups treat these members. So always understand that. Nobody gets away with anything. Everybody is measured for measure. Everybody has to pay for what they've done. So if you're a victim, stay strong, because they're not getting away with it. There is a price for dealing with the devil, and often the price is high. But gang stalkers find out about that later on. When the fun and money support runs out is when they find out the hard way. Many gay and bisexual groups are also part of gang stalking, as well as Masons, community watch groups, and even local street gangs. Gang stalking campaign also involves the noise campaign, which is the cause. Constant loud noises outside of the apartments or homes the victim is living in. Remember that loud noises, especially at odd hours of the night, is illegal, so do not be afraid to call the police if done, because they're hoping that you won't, so do so. These loud noise campaigns are to play loud music around the clock, to hammer or pound upon their ceiling so loud it resounds through the victim's home, to start acting out in front of their homes, whereby the gang stalkers will pretend to act aggressive with each other and have a staged couples quarrel or neighbors fight, or to pretend to be yelling at each other in an effort to constantly annoy their victims. Gang stalkers are too afraid for physical assaults because they know that can get them arrested. So their effort is to get you so mad that you will hit them, so that you go to jail. So remember, when they put on these stage performances, do not interfere, but call the police. The gang stalkers will try to call you derogatory names, so stand up for yourself. Do not show them that you're afraid. Do not fear them, but also do not assault them or hit them. Gang stalkers, when you are not home, will try to break into your home, vandalize your car or residence, try to steal your mail. They will commit crimes in the area around you, then try to blame it on their victims. So beware, and try your best to set up cameras in your home or recording devices if you are being stalked, as well as home security devices. Gang stalkers follow their victims every day, learning where they work and when they come home, and day after day they will follow them on foot, on public transportation, or in a car. The firemen or police officers, city workers, corporate members involved in gang stalking groups, and this only refers to those involved, will participate with group actions, and note, what they are doing is also illegal, so it is a good idea to keep record of such stalking actions, and the number of a lawyer would be a good idea to have ready. The firemen and police will sound off sirens near their home and then circle around the block again and again to keep sounding it off, and they will try to intimidate you, but do not give in to them or acknowledge them. Never give them a reason to use the law against you, because other people watch those rogue officials and will eventually bust them. Gang stalkers will use money to get family members and friends, even co-workers, to turn on their victims if the lies and the deception within the facade that they perpetrate does not work. Gang stalking is a 24-hour surveillance job, so note, they do work in shifts, sitting in parking spots around the target's residence, place or work, or when he is visiting family or friends. And if you suspect your family or friends have turned on you, then get away from them, and get away from them immediately. And if you are living in a residential area and you're noticing cars there that do not belong to any of your neighbors or homes, then you do have a right to call the police on them and bring that needed attention on them to get them out of the area. Now, to my true friends who are the victims of gang stalking, having been through it myself, into which I know that if you are either going through it or have already gone through it, I speak this to you. You are going through this or have gone through this because you are a special individual before the eyes of Jesus Christ who made you. You are not perfect, but you are creative, an honest type of person who does have love and compassion with above intelligence levels, and you live by a higher set of ideals with a self-correcting personality, and you are religious and you care about other people. You are not fooled by Hollywood, politicians, or media tactics. You are a truth seeker and you desire real truth, knowledge, and wisdom in your life. You believe in love, and the love that is God. And now because of this, your life has been drastically changed forever. And you will never look at the world in the same way again. You are part of a resistance to lies, true terrorism, and anti-Christian beliefs. You believe in helping people and seeing true peace for society. You believe that people should be free and not enslaved. You do not believe in racism or discrimination, but believe in the truth and want to see good for all cultures of humankind. And you face a trial in your life that will cause you to even become jobless and homeless. And will you suffer this mob action against you? But do not be deceived. You will be delivered out of it. So therefore rejoice. Rejoice, my brothers and sisters, because the storms always end, and the day will rise afresh for you. You will lose friends and family. You may even end up jailed or even killed. But if you're killed, your place is eternal heaven, and I envy you so greatly. And if you are jailed, you will come out stronger and more ready than ever before. You are in a fight against people being used by Satan, and there is no other way of looking at it. You are righteous, they are not. So survive it, and you will come through, and you will see what God has for you. And so be blessed. And also, as this is happening to you, or even if you've been through it, know this: welcome to the kingdom of heaven. Because God said that He will separate His people from the world. He will weed out of His kingdom those that are not His, and gather those that are His. And by the gathering, you have been chosen to face a certain trial in your life that Satan has put against you. God will allow you to go through, but you will be delivered. Understand, this is part of the persecutions that will happen to Christians in the last days. It's prophecy being fulfilled right before your very eyes. It will not last. Many lives will be destroyed, but they will come through it. Their lives will be resurrected, and everything that they have lost, they will gain it back and then some. So no matter what you lose, if you were meant to lose family members, so be it. If you were meant to lose friends, so be it. If you were meant to lose that job, so be it. If you were meant to become homeless, so be it. But the truth is, you won't be homeless for long. You will be delivered from it. You will not be jobless for long and unsupported. You will be supported. If you had to lose those family members, I guarantee you, you will get new family members. Because obviously they weren't any kind of a family if they were willing to sell you out like that. If you had to lose friends, you will get new friends who understand your plight and what's going on with you. Because if those friends were willing to also sell you out, they weren't your friends to start with. And if you have to be killed during this, then your troubles are over. And you got everything wonderful coming for you. You got a kingdom of gold, riches, you got paradise. So all is good for you. If you are jailed, you will not be in there for very long. You will come out, you will be delivered, and you will receive the righteous reward. You suffer for this because you are righteous. And God is faithful even when we're not. At the heart and the fire of the trials, when we complain and when we cry out, God, why? God, why? God, why? But remember, it happened to Him, and He promised His servants He will deliver them, He will protect them, and He will provide for them. And He truly does. Many people like myself and many others who have gone through it have seen with our own eyes. And we have received back that which we have lost. We have gained back that which had taken away from us. We have got new family members, new friends, new purpose after going through years of hell. So take courage in that, because that will be you also. As Christians, we will always go through things. Even people who have been delivered will go through things. But it does not mean that it lasts. This life is short. We're not meant to cling to anything here, not to anything. But what you have lost, you will gain. And in heaven, you will gain it in the perfect way where nobody can ever take anything from you ever again. And those people who done these things will only receive hell if they do not repent. Remember, you will come through it. It will not last. Whatever you have lost, you will get back. And ultimately, in the end, you will get back in paradise and eternity forever. So all these things that are temporary, even those temporary things you lose, you'll even get those back. Just to eventually die and watch those things separate and dissipate from you to receive eternal things. While those individuals who chose to commit themselves to such a cowardly course, I promise you, their fun is short. The fun will end, the party will be over, the party favors will be spent, and they will lose everything with no chance at all. Because what they got for their future, if they do not correct their courses and their actions, is hell. They won't be in heaven. You will never remember their names. You'll never remember them at all, because you'll be too busy having real fun. God is justice. Always remember that. And vengeance is the Lord's. And the Lord does repay. He can repay you good. And I know to many of you victims, He will repay you good. Because that is His promise. And to the victimizers, gang stalkers and such, the Lord will repay you evil for all the evil that you have done. And not only do I know that, because that is His promise, and He will do it. Gang stalkers, repent. To those who belong in the kingdom of heaven, rejoice, because your reward is sure. This has been our Shield of the Sun video. If you'd like to send a donation to Shield of the Sun, you can send it to the name Miguel Jimenez, P.O. Box 39204, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28278. Please purchase the book Ancient of Days, written by me, Michael Herr, at lulu.com. God bless you, and good night.